The Podcast's Empire, podcast mastery for women in business.
Welcome to the Podcast Empire, where we help women in business launch profitable podcasts to build their brand and influence. We are bringing you today a Pinterest expert, a marketing expert. Now, we met in 2019 on a US-based reality show, and Kim Ward is the bomb diggity. She has been on stages everywhere. She works in circles in influencers, Olympians, and major celebrities, and normal, everyday people just like you. Kim Ward, welcome to the Podcast Empire.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. 2019, man, time just flies by. I can't tell you.
It absolutely does. Now, we were talking pre-show as well, just how much uniqueness there is around Pinterest and SEO leveraging, and how it's done so many great things for your business, for your clients, and for you as an influencer and branding online as well, because you're a busy entrepreneur and you have a team, you have clients, and yet you're still showing up and leveraging the power of Pinterest. And we want to know today, how can that help purpose-driven women in business? How can that help somebody who's thinking of starting a podcast, or maybe seasoned in a podcast and maybe rebranding? Because you've got all the goods, Miss Kim. You've got all the goods.
Well, I try. And so, purpose-driven women, podcasters, we all have that desire to serve on such a high level. And we also have that desire to be able to, just take some breathing room and be with our family, or travel a little bit, or, have some life without dropping the balls or the batons. We are high performers, and I get that. So when I first started teaching people about Pinterest marketing, their minds were just blown because they had no idea the potential and what they were missing out on. And that's leverage, Tracy. That is pure leverage. So right now, there's currently 482 million monthly active users on the platform. We just crossed a major threshold. This is the biggest audience we've seen on this platform, and we're growing each and every day. The nice thing about this is when you create a pin, I am not going to bash social media because I am a digital marketing strategist, but your content tends to depreciate a little bit faster than it does on a search engine. So with Pinterest, the average lifespan of one pin is 4 months. So even if you're new to podcasting, even if you're new to your business, you can suck as you begin your journey, and your pin still lives on for a minimum of 4 months. That's freedom, that's longevity, that's leverage. And that's what we want to really tap into.
Absolutely. And I love how you can create evergreen content, especially for podcasters. If you're creating the right value-driven content, sharing your messages of impact, that's going to remain on Pinterest and be evergreen. So people can find you 5 years down the track, plug into an episode and still connect with you. And if you tie that business model to your podcast and you leverage it as a marketing tool, this is where Pinterest and SEO comes into it. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that is and how it would be beneficial for people?
Absolutely. And I love this conversation. This is what I call your virtual spider web. And I realize that a spider web is meant to capture prey. And I'm not insinuating that our leads and our audience are prey, but we're creating something with such depth and such magnitude that it's hard for people to get out of your world, nor do they want to. So when you understand what your audience needs, what's their pains, what's their problems, what's their desires, you're going to speak to them in terms of what we call keywords. And a keyword can be a single word like podcast, and it can be a long tail keyword like how to start my first podcast. That's a long tail keyword. So whatever your audience is looking for, you're going to meet them where they're at in terms of how do they search. Most humans go to Google or go to Pinterest looking for tips, how to, ideas. And the fact remains that when you use the word ideas on your Pinterest board, you're increasing your Google searchability by 33%. So, like you said, your podcast is a business tool. We're going to drive people through your front door 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 2, 4 years down the road, because humans don't change. There's always going to be people searching for what you have. And as long as you're crafting your titles and your descriptions and your topics the way that they're searching for it, you are always going to be relevant. And I tell people, we will help you create content that outlives you. And as a matter of fact, my husband and I just recently we got to put our Pinterest account into our will, because we generate so many leads and so many sales around the clock.
That's incredible. An amazing aspect that people aren't considering. Just the power. Now, when you first come to Pinterest, for those that don't know, it is a search engine, not social media. And people come there to buy, don't they?
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, like I said, 482 million monthly active users. Active is the operative word. They have to show some kind of logging in and some kind of action to be considered active. And 85% of those humans have their debit card or credit card in hand ready to buy. That is the place they go to for ideas, inspiration, and projects. And I love showing people, like I'll share my screen and show them, people on Pinterest don't go to TikTok to look for TikTok videos, Tracy. Would you believe that? TikTok videos and reels are a highly searched keyword. So we pinners, what we call ourselves, we're creatures of habit. We want to stay on this platform. And so this is why it is imperative as a high performer, as a very, purpose-driven female entrepreneur and or podcaster, it is a must that your content is on the Pinterest platform.
Absolutely. And what kind of success have you seen with your clients? Because I do see them turning up online with all of these new branding, new businesses, new offers, and they're really standing out in the marketplace, and it's all due to Pinterest.
We have everything from, oh my gosh, clients who came onto the platform. One in particular did a $25,000 in revenue in her first 5 months. I had another client through a very short form video have a $50,000 day. And now I'm hired by professional athletes and Olympians to make sure that their brand is well distributed throughout the Pinterest platform. And attorneys, doctors, naturopaths, everything in between, from the stay-at-home mom to, the 5-medal Olympian, and literally everything in between. And,
And this is a platform where you can actually share your links, and it is encouraged to share your links. You can link it to your website, you can link it to your e-commerce shop, you can link it to your Etsy account, and you can link it to your actual podcast, whether that's audio or video. Would you recommend sharing kind of repurposed video podcast clips and leading them to a video podcast or the audio podcast within Pinterest as well?
I'm actually really glad you brought this up, because my next thing was video is a must. So back in 2023 and prior to that, we had something on the platform called Pinterest TV. And that was for, I'll call elite Pinterest users. We had to get approval to be part of that piece of the platform. And that would allow us to schedule our Pinterest lives. And I was really blessed to be one of those creators. And every time I went live, I would have between 60,000 and 100,000 impressions. And what that means is that's how many times my content has been seen on screen. Our good friend, our mutual friend, Lindsay, she posted a Pinterest live, and within 30 minutes, she had 4 sales to her product just directly from the platform, complete strangers, right? So when you have your video portion of your podcast, here's the cool part about that. They discontinued Pinterest TV. They realized, hey, we're really shortchanging ourselves, our users, and the people who need you, the video podcasters, okay, the video creators. So what they did was they stopped that program and they told us, we're going to make it even for all video creators. So right now, especially, the Pinterest platform is kind of where YouTube was back in 2000 and what, 12, where most people would like, I wish I started back then. You can and you should, and hopefully you will bring that video over to Pinterest. The difference between a static pin, which is just like a graphic, right? We can make those on Canva. That is taking about 90 days to reach the peak in the algorithm. And so we always want to be thinking 90 days ahead. So when we create those static pins, our content is there when the time comes. With a video, it's instantaneous into the algorithm. So there's a very critical need for both video as well as static pins. Now, when you take your audio feed and you put that onto like a audiogram or an audio pin where it's maybe just a static image, but we can hear you talking, that's a nice teaser to your podcast. And of course, you want to play a little clip. People are going to want, they're going to want to click on that and go listen to the full episode. But because it's got movement, it's an audio file that does count in the platform as a video. It's an MP4. So that's going to be instantly into the algorithm. So what we're doing here is we're creating a very quick buzz. We're driving traffic to your podcast faster by using the video and the audio features. And then we're getting that real life and longevity through the static pins. So, woo, baby, hold on.
That is wild. And it's so simple when you know the strategy as well. How important is consistency and posting? Is it the same as social media? We hear all these people go, you need to post 5 times a day, because it's a long game, Pinterest as well, isn't it?
It sure is. And because it's a search engine, it's so different than social media. Consistency is everything, Tracy. Everything. And we can actually pin to the platform up to 50 times a day. I haven't met a person yet who's doing that. We've stretched up to the 30s, but that's beast mode. Those people, they're making some dough. I mean, at that point, you need to be making at least 20,000 a month off of Pinterest with that kind of long game. But here's the deal with a search engine, they want to know that the content you're putting out there is trustworthy and that you are building credibility with the platform. The only way you can do that is by giving value to your audience, creating content that they want to see visually, that they want to hear audibly, and that they want to read, right? And when you do that consistently, the algorithm is understanding who you're talking to. So when you do that consistently for a long enough period of time, they're like, okay, we get it. You're trustworthy, you're credible, and it's like the gates open. And now when someone searches, whether it's Google or whether it's Pinterest, now your pins start to populate for those humans who are already searching for that like-minded content.
Now, I know myself, when I'm actually searching, where do I find, what would you recommend in Google, I'm finding not only video podcast snips come up in the top ranks of the search, but also Pinterest links coming up in the top ranks of the search. So that's a strategy that you would teach with inside your programs as well, is it?
Absolutely. I want you to have that virtual spider web so that we're really helping you with leverage. That's so important so that you can do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's your life or business. If we can leverage your time and really, Tracy, most people, most creators, most business owners, we feel like we have to create. So it looks like they're creating 80% of the time and only marketing what they have about 20% of the time. What we're looking to do is you can create less and let's milk this thing dry. So now we are really repurposing and creating that virtual spider web. So now you're marketing 80% of the time. And so with less work, you're actually getting more done. And that's what we do. That's what we teach people. We're going to do less and watch the bottom line and the revenue increase. It's so cool.
Now, I've been part of your Pinterest community for quite a while. And just from one of the trainings that you delivered, I think it went for an hour, I learned so many strategies, techniques, how to search for your keywords, where to go in a step-by-step format as well. So imagine the value you would get by working with you in your programs as well. It's just going to be so valuable, not only to build your brand and your influence, but to share your messages of impact, to have recognition in a search engine and come up into your ideal audience's searches organically, right? Organically.
Absolutely.
Now, I've got a question, and my members in my podcast program have actually asked me to ask you this question when I asked them what is a question you would ask a Pinterest expert. So I'm putting it to you here, Kim.
I'm
What do you
excited.
have in your Pinterest bio? Is it like a social media bio, or should it be different?
Oh, this is so good. It is really important that you speak to your ideal client or customer. You have got to let them know who you help, how you help them, and what they can expect by following you. And it is imperative that you have at least 3 to 5 highly researched keywords in that area. It's the About Me section. So one of the things that, as you said, we were on a reality show together. One of the big takeaways for us is the psychology in marketing is when you speak to one singular human, not the plural, not the masses of people. So it's going to convert and land better when you speak to that singular human and make them feel like they're the only person you're speaking to, really connect on the emotional level with their pains and their problems, and then how you help. And of course, that is a non-salesy connection, right? They understand, oh my gosh, this person gets me. They understand me. They're speaking to me in a way that I felt no one understands me. So whatever that call to action is, whatever the next step with you is just the next logical solution, whether it's follow me, right? Whether it's, hey, check out my podcast, whether it's, hey, step into my Facebook community or my lead magnet or go to my YouTube channel. We can point people pretty much anywhere from Pinterest. And that's really the beauty.
And that was the second question. Everyone's like, but how do I know what my call to action is? And I always, now I want you to agree or disagree or add, throw in at any time here, Kim, because I always say your call to action is the next steps you want your audience to take to work with you, to get closer to you, to build on that know, like, trust, and nurture factor. Do you have any other thoughts around that?
Well, first, I agree. And it's imperative that we get them into your ecosystem. Pinterest is a funnel. And for most people, this is their first encounter to you and with you. So this is the very first step in the customer journey. We can do anything there from, again, stepping into a community. That's low resistance. That's no cost, very low resistance. So let's get them into your world, into your ecosystem. Listening to a podcast, very low resistance. But when they fall in love with your podcast and your energy and your personality and your conversations, they're going to share your pins out. So now they're starting to promote you and they're starting to share you with their audience. And you're developing a deeper virtual spider web without realizing it. And so, I completely agree with you.
And what makes you, I know you're unique in your space because you have absolutely mastered Pinterest. Your clients are seeing results. You're working with well-renowned global celebrities, influencers, athletes, and Olympians. What makes you really unique in this space? I know it's a double-edged sword kind of question, Kim, but why should people come to you?
I can't tell you how many times I sat through webinars hoping to get the thing I wanted and needed. And the whole hour was a pitch to come into a paid program. I always shoot very straight from the hip. I don't beat around the bush. I don't waste people's time. I over deliver and then I over deliver and then I over deliver again because I can and I want to. So when you come to me, you're going to get the best, current, up-to-date, effective information so that you can really close that gap from where you are to where you want to be. Let's not waste time. Time is our most precious commodity. So I'm going to show you how to get your time back and how to get in, get out. That's the bottom line. I don't mess around.
Now, you are no BS. And how did I know you were going to say that as well? Because that is why you go to Miss Kim Ward to deliver the goods on Pinterest, to create such a ecosystem within your business. And especially if you're a podcaster, this is going to be so beneficial. We'll be showing where to connect with Kim in the show notes below. So make sure you jump in there, get into Kim's ecosystem, get into her virtual spider web, and check out all the goods there as well. Now, what kind of message would you like to leave the audience on today? If you're a woman in business, you're thinking about starting Pinterest, what kind of message would you like to leave us on?
First of all, as the purpose-driven woman that you are, I want you to know that the moment you entered your mother's womb, you were the exact puzzle piece you need. All the adversity, all the trials, all the tribulations have helped you get to who you are today. I cannot say this enough. With your personality, with your skill set, with your product, your service, your opportunity, whatever your thing is, you are exactly what the world needs. And when you don't show up, you are robbing somebody from a transformation that only you can help them have. I mean this so much. And Pinterest is going to be there today, tomorrow, forever. And it needs you. They need you. There's 482 million people who don't like to go to other platforms. So please come over and play with us. And let's get you in front of those humans who are waiting for you.
That is great advice. Great advice, as usual. We love bringing you the experts who are at the top of their game with servant hearts and genuinely wanting to see you succeed. Thank you very much, Kim. And we will see you on the next episode of the Podcast Empire. Click the show notes below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in the pod. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Tracy.
The Podcast Empire, podcast mastery for women in business.